Welcome to Beyond the Buzz, where curiosity meets clarity. I'm Dr. Tara Morrows, scientist and communicator with decades of experience translating complex human research into clear, evidence-informed insight. Today, we're exploring one of the most rapidly growing areas in personal health, consumer sleep trackers. These devices promise deeper insights, better sleep, and a more optimized you. But the real question is whether the data they give us actually helps, or simply makes us think more about sleep. And more importantly, how much of what we believe about our sleep is shaped by the numbers on our wrist, rather than how rested we actually feel. Let's start with the claim. The buzz around sleep tracking is massive and growing fast. More than 35% of Americans have used an electronic sleep tracking device, and among those users, 77% say the tracker was helpful and 68% say it changed their behavior. That's a huge footprint for a single category of consumer tech. And the economics match the enthusiasm. The global sleep tracker market is worth over $26 billion today and projected to hit nearly $48 billion by 2032, growing over 7% annually. It's no surprise, then, that sleep scores, sleep optimization, and nightly data breakdowns have become part of everyday health conversations, often before we talk about how we actually feel when we wake up. Let's check the evidence, our kind of receipt check. This is the moment to pause and ask the questions that matter. What's the evidence? What's the source? And how do we know? Here's what the evidence shows. First, when you look at the scientific landscape, we have a strong foundation of systematic reviews evaluating how well consumer sleep trackers actually measure sleep. One major review found that while these devices can capture general sleep patterns, their accuracy varies widely depending on the device and the measurement being compared to clinical gold standards like polysomnography. In plain language, they're helpful at showing trends, but they're not clinical tools. A second systematic review and meta-analysis focused on non-invasive sleep measuring devices in adults, including consumer wearables. It reinforced the same message: useful for general patterns, but far from perfect when compared to established clinical measurements. This matters when people rely on minute-by-minute data that may not reflect true sleep biology. When we move into randomized controlled trials, studies that test real-world effects, things get even more interesting. One randomized controlled trial looked at how wearing a sleep tracker affects perceived sleep in healthy adults. The study found that even when the device wasn't highly precise on some metrics, the simple act of tracking sleep could change how people judged the quality of their sleep, for better or for worse. Perception didn't always match objective sleep. Another randomized controlled trial evaluated a sleep improvement app, comparing it to a control group in the general population. Sleep quality improved in both groups, but with no meaningful difference between the app and the control condition. In other words, sometimes people improve simply because they're paying attention, not necessarily because the technology itself is driving change. Finally, the World Sleep Society's consensus recommendations add an important perspective. Consumer sleep trackers can be helpful tools when used appropriately, but they also come with risks. These include anxiety around bad sleep scores and misinterpretations of nightly variability, both of which can make sleep feel more stressful than it needs to be. Putting all of this together, sleep trackers can sometimes motivate awareness and behavior change, but they're not precise medical instruments. And they can influence how you feel about your sleep just as much as how you actually sleep. So why does this trend resonate? First, sleep is one of the most universal needs we have, and one of the hardest to control. A device that promises clarity, measurement, and daily improvement taps into a deep desire for certainty. Second, many people feel disconnected from how they slept. You wake up groggy and immediately blame the night, even if the data paints a different picture. Or you feel fine, but a low score makes you question your own experience. This tension between body awareness and external data is exactly where sleep trackers feel powerful. Third, we're living in a cultural moment where personal optimization is everywhere. Steps, heart rate, macros, screen time, everything feels measurable. Sleep tracking fits neatly into that narrative. If you can track it, maybe you can fix it. And finally, there's something emotionally satisfying about a clean dashboard, a rising trend line, or a good score. It feels like progress, even when the underlying sleep may not have changed. So what's the takeaway? Sleep trackers can be genuinely useful when you treat them as informational tools, not diagnostic devices. They're great for spotting habits, noticing trends, and increasing awareness. And the evidence suggests they can motivate behavior change, which many people find valuable. But they also have limitations. They're not perfectly accurate. They can influence your perception of sleep in ways that don't always help. And they don't necessarily improve sleep quality more than simple self-awareness or common sense sleep habits. The key is to use them with curiosity, not judgment. Let the data inform your patterns, not dictate your mood for the day. Something to reflect on. When you look at your own sleep, do you trust how you feel in the morning? Or do you trust the number on your wrist more? If you found this useful, follow Beyond the Buzz and share it with a friend who likes a little science with their scroll. You can also explore the full sources and vote in this week's poll in the Evidence Edit. This is Beyond the Buzz, cutting through the hype because evidence is empowering.